Hey guys, my name is Casey Alexander, and I will be going over animal welfare in regards to our pets. Pets play a huge role in our society. We have brought them into our homes to live alongside us, making them and the laws that protect them very unique. There are many laws and details on this topic, so I touched on what I felt was the most important regarding pet welfare in order to keep this presentation around 10 minutes. Under each slide if you are interested in learning more. I'm a very visual learner, and in order to make this video a little bit more entertaining, I've added some pictures and videos. Don't worry, there are no pictures of abused animals or dog fighting. Instead, my lovely dogs and boyfriend aided their modeling skills in the making of this presentation. As a disclaimer, no animals or boyfriends were harmed in the making of this presentation. The Animal Welfare Act was signed into law in 1966. It is the only federal law in the United States that regulates the treatment of animals in research, exhibition, transport, and by dealers. Other laws, policies, and guidelines may include additional species coverage or specifications for animal care and use, but all refer to the Animal Welfare Act as the minimum acceptable standard. The Act is enforced by the USDA, the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, and animal care agencies. It is important to note that state-specific laws vary, and the link below will direct you to the laws in your own state. First, we will be discussing what the law states about how animals must be treated. All handling of pet animals must not cause physical or mental stress or abuse. Unnecessary physical restraint must be avoided. Pets must be fed palatable and nutritionally adequate food daily or according to the animal's particular needs. All pets must have access to uncontaminated drinking water. Any housing and caging systems must provide adequate space and allow the animal to freely move and adjust positions. For dogs and cats in crates, the animal should be able to stand, properly turn, and comfortably lie down. The area must stay clean and dry, and waste should be removed at a timely manner. Animals need to be housed in areas that are temperature controlled with proper ventilation. Dogs and cats that are housed outdoors should have access to shelter from the elements. When it comes to rescues, shelters, boarding facilities, and any other pet business, all equipment must be cleaned and disinfected. A unique law for dogs is that they must be provided with adequate access to exercise. All pet animals, however, must be provided with appropriate enrichment activities. Human interaction should also be incorporated. Where group housing or socialization is permitted safely, safety should be taken in consideration given to behavioral and social interactions. An example of this is a dog daycare or boarding facility. A popular trend in North America is taking your dog to socialize with other dogs while you are at work or school. This picture is of my dog as a puppy at one such place. The laws regarding these facilities vary state by state. And in Colorado, there are very strict guidelines, and the animals must be monitored whenever socialization is occurring. A law that is unique to pets is that any state or privately owned shelter, pound, or rescue must hold and care for any dog or cat for a minimum of 5 days to allow the animal to be recovered by its owner. After this period, the animal can be sold unless suffering a disease, injury, or emaciation. This basically means that if your pet escapes or is lost and found by a shelter, they must give you adequate time to find your pet again. The only exception to this is if your dog is found with rabies or an injury causing them to suffer. Then euthanasia laws come into play, which will be discussed later in the slides. The regulation of companion animal breeders and dealers is one of the most prominent issues in legislation in regards to animal welfare. The laws vary state by state, and the reason it is such a hot topic is due to puppy mills. Hopefully you've heard of puppy mills, but basically they are an operation that reproduces puppies as quickly as possible with no regards to the animal's welfare. Laws vary state by state. Some states like Colorado have extensive laws, while other states like Alaska and Arkansas have almost no guidelines. Follow the link to look up your state's specific laws. Another hot topic in regards to pet welfare is the issue of non-medical surgical procedures such as debarking, declawing, tail docking, and ear cropping. The AVMA's standpoint on these procedures is that they should only be performed by qualified veterinarians and only as a last resort. Obviously, scissors are not used like the picture, and as you can see, my dog was less than amused by the idea. Canine devocalization often occurs due to issues with a dog disrupting the peace. Let's say the dog is left at home for 10 hours a day and barks nonstop. The owner receives citations and is fined. If the barking continues, the owner must surrender the dog to a shelter, find another home for the dog, or can have the dog undergo this procedure. With the introduction of electronic bark collars, however, this procedure is fairly uncommon. Declawing cats can present a zoonotic risk for its owners, so it is discouraged, however, still legal under U.S. law. Many countries have banned tail docking and ear cropping, however, it is not federally illegal in the United States. There's contention between breeders of dogs like Dobermans and those who find the procedures cruel. The AVMA highly discourages tail docking and ear cropping as it causes pain and distress. The method of euthanization is fairly standard across the 50 states, with most states authorizing the injection of sodium pentobarbital or a similar agent. However, some states allow the use of carbon monoxide chambers, often mandating that the animal must be of a certain age. Some states, such as Delaware, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia, specifically prohibit euthanization of companion animals by means of a gas chamber or carbon monoxide. As stated previously, some states have enacted laws on emergency euthanization. In those states, law enforcement officers, animal control agents, veterinarians, or other designated people may shoot or otherwise euthanize an animal in an emergency situation if deemed to be dangerous, injured, or sick beyond treatment. In most states, that determination must be made not only by the person performing the euthanization, but also by one or more witnesses. Additionally, in those cases, the owner generally must be considered as unavailable before the animal can be euthanized. Animal shelters, animal control agencies, and humane societies in several states may obtain a permit to possess the chemicals used for euthanization of companion animals, in addition to veterinary clinics. Oftentimes, the state has established procedures for the storage of these chemicals. Reporting abuse. Veterinarians and pet professionals are required to report suspicion of cruelty and animal fighting to local law enforcement. Immunity is provided to the person who is reporting, and in many states, pet protection orders are extended to pets in homes where domestic abuse has occurred. The reason for this is they find a correlation between animal abuse and child abuse in the same home. Today, 27 states and the District of Columbia have adopted laws allowing for pet protection orders, including Colorado. Obviously, this is not a video of my dogs fighting, but you'll get the idea. This dog fighting is obviously illegal, but the Animal Fighting Prohibition Enforcement Act of 2007 was signed into law on May 3, 2007. The law upgrades current penalties by creating felony-level jail time for up to 3 years for violations of the federal animal fighting law. Pet trusts. In 1990, a provision in the Uniform Probate Code adopted by the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws signaled a change in the law and included a provision allowing for the care of a pet that outlives its owner. Currently, 47 states adopted one of these model law provisions, or their own version of animal trust legislation. A trust may be created to provide for the care of an animal alive during the settler's lifetime. The trust terminates upon the death of the animal, or if the trust was created to provide for the care of more than one animal alive during the settler's lifetime, upon the death of the last surviving animal. A trust authorized by this section may be enforced by a person appointed in the terms of the trust, or if no one is appointed, by a person appointed by the court. A person having an interest in the welfare of the animal may request the court to appoint a person to enforce the trust or to remove a person appointed. So last question, and something that I found interesting, was, can dogs and cats legally be raised, slaughtered, and eaten? The answer is yes. Actually, only a few states ban the eating of cats and dogs. Some examples of this is California has a pet eating law that kind of expands beyond broader reach. It bars possession of the entire carcass of an animal. So even if somebody goes and buys some cat steaks, it's not a good alibi. California also protects any animal traditionally or commonly kept as a pet or companion. While pigs are also kept as companions in homes, they are not covered in this law. Horses also are covered by a different section of the code. There's no precedent on iguanas, goldfish, or boa constrictors, so essentially you can eat those too. Some states, such as Virginia, bar the unnecessary killing of an animal with a specific exemption for farming activities. On the other end of the spectrum are states like Missouri, where very few restrictions are placed on when, why, and how an owner can kill his pet. In these areas, it would be difficult to lock up a person who eats a dog or a cat unless his chosen means of slaughter were particularly inhumane. Some states have experience with this and are trying to enact laws, such as Pennsylvania. This state actually had some issues with this about 10 years ago. In Philadelphia, 150 Jindo dogs, which are dogs that are bred in South Korea for meat and pelts, were taken from someone who told humane officers the animals were bred as guard dogs and for meat. So that's all that covers pet welfare. There's a lot more laws encompassing this, but again, I had to keep it under 10 minutes. So if you're interested in learning more, follow the links provided on each slide.